Díomh Cáil Gael, it's Fáilteachí Sportsline on Scariff Bay Community Radio. Good afternoon, everyone. You're welcome into the Sportsline here on Scariff Bay Community Radio on 88.3 FM and 92.7 FM in associated with Credit Union. And on today's show, joined as always by co-presenter Pat McNamara. And our guests today are our regular analysts that we have on our Scariff Bay Sportsline team in Sean O'Halloran from Bodyke and Danny Chaplin from Bradford, as we look back over last weekend's championship action, and we look forward to the upcoming weekend where there's more important championship action. And first of all, before we start, we have to send sympathies to Bradford GA Club and the O'Keefe family on the passing of Joe O'Keefe, and to Clare Castle on the passing of Martin Reynolds, a great clubman, former Borden Nogue Emond chairman, and to the Harrison family in Tulla on the passing of Seamus Harrison, Seamus, whose wife Olivia, very good to us there at every game that we're at there in Dr. Terry Park. So from all here, we send our sincere sympathies, and may they rest in peace. Before we get into dissecting last Sunday's match and looking forward to this Sunday's match, we get a few words from the Clare manager, Brian Lohan, speaking to the media directly after last Sunday's game.
Yeah, sure. I think we hope that we do. Performed well for long periods of the game, but didn't see it out.
Was it that momentum arrest probably after their goal that kind of turned it a little bit? Yeah,
look, three shocking goals from our perspective. They happen sometimes, and they happen to us, and we have to respond to it now. See if we can.
Yeah, but a lot of good stuff up to that point. Or is it kind of hard to see it through the fog of the disappointment right now?
Yeah, very hard to see it. Very hard to see any good stuff when you perform so poorly in the last 15 minutes.
What was the change of point, Brian? You're 9 here in 53 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Look, you all saw the game. Like, goals change matches, and they got a couple of handy ones, and that was the difference.
Obviously, questions about square balls there. What did you think?
Yeah, I haven't seen it back.
The second goal seemed to be the one that really put them on the driving seat, if you like. You know, you seem to be nearly settling down after the first one.
Yeah, a number of there were a lot of poor goals from our perspective. So poor defending, which we're disappointed with. But look, it is what it is. We can't do anything about it now.
You've just 7 days now to face into a very big game. Will it be difficult to just refocus?
Yeah, it's the exact same as last year. Very poor display from us last year. But probably did a lot of positives last year as well, but very poor result, and we were facing into going into Limerick, an away game, so disappointed for us to lose the home game, particularly having played so well for long periods of the game. Thanks, lads.
Pat, looking back, not the result we wanted last weekend.
No, you'd have said, I suppose, that about 3 o'clock Sunday, things were very, very rosy. I was on the terrace at the end, at the town end, and I said to someone beside me, when we were 9 points up, I said, I bet you this game I will be still hanging on to win by 3 or 4, we'll be still tense and nervous. And when the first goal went in, I had a bad feeling, even though they brought it back to 6, I think. But 6 seemed kind of small when you consider we had such a lead. So it actually went backwards and downhill and haywire from then on. The backline got confused, and we had a couple of bad misses. David Reid in first. Look, overall, it looked as if we were shell shocked. It looked like when Tony Kelly came in, I wondered that all the players stopped playing. That it kind of coincided as well. So overall, obviously we'll analyse it now with Danny and Sean there and see what were the specifics. But I walked up the street to Collins Street and afterwards to where I was going to meet somebody, and I wasn't depressed for a long time, to be honest about it. But I'm sure everybody else feels the same, but we'll see why as we go along. I'll be interested what Sean and Danny have to say.
Sean, and you're in the ward yourself, and look with your shoulder operation, but Sean, it was a hard one to take.
Yeah, it was really, especially the fact that we had played so well in the first half, and it looked as if the team were seriously well up for it, and it was in the final 10 or 10 or 12 minutes. Once the first goal went in, the same as Pat says, I felt there was a turnout, there was a change, and a kind of a mood, came over the team in the sense that they were a bit shell-shocked, and we seemed to never recover from it. And when the second goal went in, I thought that was the killer. We'd have withstood the first goal, one goal. We still were 6 up, but the second goal really brought it down to manageable proportions. You were down to 3 points, and that's a dangerous at any game, especially in the game of hurling and the speed which is being played, and scores come fast and furious. When there's only a few points in it.
And of course, Sean, the third one was the icing on the cake, and it just really killed any momentum the Clare had.
Yeah, they seem to, take it really to heart, the second one. They seem to lose their shape, whatever it was. The whole team, particularly the backline, that started losing their shape. I suppose they probably needed to win a puck out or win two, someone to stick up his hand and win a ball and take on, run at the Limerick defence at that stage. But we just found it hard to just win that game around the middle third. But I thought Connacht, I was interested to see Connacht in the last, we'd say 3 or 4 minutes of the game moving into injury time, and he was encouraging all the Limerick lads to get in around the middle. In other words, crowd it out and make sure no one was going to win possession except the Limerick man. And I think we weren't alert to that enough. That was the stage where they closed out the game. There was still a few minutes to go when they got into the lead, before they got into the lead, but they were. They had all avenues covered in the sense that they closed down shop around the middle of the field.
Yeah, and Denny, you're taking it, and it obviously goals win matches, and definitely that was the case very much that Sunday. But Clare had played so well, and to come away, it is hard to take when you come away with nothing after playing so well for an hour.
Yeah, I suppose. Look, we did play well for long periods of the game, but. It looked like we crumbled after the first goal. We panicked. Doyle came on wing forward for Limerick. We didn't know who was picking him up. Next thing, Garrod Hegarty was standing on his own, not once, twice, 3 or 4 times. Keane Lynch started dropping back into the half back line, one savage amount of ball for the last 20 minutes of the game. He seemed to be everywhere. Now, John Conlon had a tremendous game for 52 minutes of the game, but he seemed to tire, same with Peter Duggan maybe. We seemed to tire in vital positions. And, I thought we panicked a bit. Did we need to make changes? Was it a case of we were trying to get some mileage into Tony Kelly's legs and Paul Flanagan's legs? Did we need to make them changes? To me, I don't think we did. We were hurling well. We were 9 points up at one stage. 9 points up with 15 minutes ago. I don't believe that we needed to make a whole load of changes. We ended up making 5 in the last 15 minutes. The one change I would have made wasn't made until the very end. I would have definitely brought someone in the half-hour line, like Aaron Shannon, into the half-hour line to start contesting the ball with Peter Duggan. He was the only man we had on all our puck-outs for 50 minutes. He was contesting every ball. And, you could see it. He was just out on his feet come the last 10, 15 minutes. And I felt that it was into the half-hour line we should have been bringing Aaron Shanahan, because we all know he's a tremendous man in the air as well. And it just needed another avenue. We needed to get to grips with that middle third. As Sean said there, they crowded it. But we more or less made it easy for them. We didn't contest the ball in the last 20 minutes with the same ferocity as we had done. And maybe that's easy to say because we were probably, there's no doubt people were getting tired, but Limerick were getting tired as well, and it's probably a testament to Limerick's physical strength and physical fitness, that they finished just as strong as they started, whereas I just felt we were wilting in a lot of positions, and the physicality of the game seemed to take its effect on us. And then the nature of the goals, I suppose mentally they were draining in themselves. We have to question the first goal, the second goal. Should Ever have done better? I would have felt he should, but other people said it's easy to say that. I never played in goals now, and I'm not having a go at a goalie, but it just felt at that level, if you're coming for the ball, you come for it. If you're not coming, you stay on your line. That's the first goal. I thought he was caught a bit in no man's land. Should Conor Cleary maybe have done better on the dropping ball? Maybe he should, but he seemed to be wrapping up your man and letting the ball through. Gillane letting the ball through, but and then when the goals did go in, it was like the air went out of the balloon. It was just deflation, and we kind of looked dead on our feet all over the field for the 5 to 8 minutes spell there, where they got them scores. Okay, we finished. I suppose, and maybe I'm contradicting myself here now, but we finished coming at it again in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. We did try, and I felt the other thing I felt was they had a man, Shane O'Donnell, I thought was superb, and we just didn't feed him with enough of ball, And then when he had it a couple of times, we didn't support him enough.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Shane shows his ability. That goal in the first half for Aidan McCafferty, to Shane, that was all down to Shane O'Donnell. He won the ball, he beat 3 defenders, and he literally put the ball on a plate for Aidan. And no, he finished it, fair play. But we didn't create another chance like that. We didn't, even though Shane won other balls, we didn't support him in the same way. We didn't make the runs off his shoulder, and they're disappointing things. And plus, we're defeated now, and we have to look forward to the weekend, and that's a big worry. Like, can we recover in the week? And I suppose it's easy to be critical. I don't want to be overcritical. We want to do is see Clare winning again the weekend. So we don't want to be overcritical and everything. We know that I as well as anybody else, we know the effort these guys are putting in, and it's just a pity that it ended up that way for a match that I suppose we snatched defeat from the jaws of victory instead of the other way around.
Yeah, and there's no doubt, Sean, look, it is a mental battle this week, and there's no doubt that the whole, like, even as Denny said, the air went out of the balloon. Not only did the air go out of the players last Sunday, but the crowd just went completely dead for that 7 or 8 minute spell. And in credit to them, like, they did come back, but like they just left it too much to do. And Limerick had of course, they had all their avenues closed, But I suppose we have to give credit to Limerick, though, right?
Yeah, you have really, and I think we have to put it into perspective as well. I think we must remember in the first half, Limerick had 5 or 6 very poor wides, and I happened to be near a few Limerick supporters, and they were going crazy because of the fact they were missing so many what they considered easy scores, which normally that Limerick forward then would be tipping over. They would have got majority of them anyway. But it wasn't that we were totally dominant. Limerick had their chances as well. But I thought after half time, Limerick came out in a rejuvenated team, and as Denny rightly says, like Cian Lynch, he started to get a grip on the game and started breaking tackles, and as he does so well, hand passing and flicking with the left hand and bringing more people into the game. And Clare never found a way to curb him. I thought as the game wore on, he got more and more into the game. He ended up with getting a great point, shoving towards the end of the game as well. But he was anonymous in the first half. I thought John Conlon had a huge game.
Yeah,
in fairness, now I thought he played really well. And McNamara actually did well, but his man still was getting a few points. Even he cleared a lot of ball, but he just, as a unit, our 6 backs seemed to be bothersome in the second half. We seemed, Danny points out about, Hagerty going inside corner forward, and he was inside there, as you say, a couple of times on his own. No one seemed to be picking him up. There was something, lack of communication, I suppose, was the biggest problem.
I think, Pat, and there's no doubt lack of communication, but definitely mentally when the goals went in. And look at any goal you can have enough there, and we have to question the referee's decisions here as well. There was definitely 2 of the goals. Definitely one was definitely a square ball. The first one was marginal. Maybe you'd contest it, but obviously the second one, Eva will know when he should have done better with that. But after putting so much effort into it, and
Yeah.
then you'll find it hard to come back again. That they were just gone.
Yeah, it was I thought the nature of the goals was I think the thing that really hit the confidence and made people so jittery and downhearted, and the Clare crowd so silent, because neither goal was particularly well worked by Limerick at all. I mean, Burns' free was mishit, and Burns' free happened about 15 or 20 yards back further, but Fitzgerald went tangling with, I forget who he fouled, was it Kyle Duncan? I forget who it was. And Lyons brought the ball forward about 20 yards.
25 yards.
And then Burns seemed to miss it, and it was just going on the crossbar level, and I was behind it, and I didn't like the look of it as it left it early, because I said, genie, here we go now. I hate these lowish balls going in, like high ball dropping down is different. Then the second goal was no bullet, and it could have been cleared.
It hopped up off the ground.
Yeah,
right, to be fair.
And it did. And the third one, I mean, you'd be very cross in junior level if you left a corner forward on his own twice. This is to get over integrity, a hurler of the year, and a man who's a leader for Limerick. The nature of the goals, I think, totally sucked the life out of everybody, including the players, but also the crowd. I said, if Limerick got 3 brilliant goals, it was a fair play to them, but they weren't. The other thing I thought was, there was a few other lads who had great leagues, didn't really have a good championship game. I said David Ryan would be one, I thought, David Fitzgerald another. Probably David Reedy, his 2 misses I thought were vital. The 2-point misses he had in the second half might just have been enough to keep us ticking over and set Limerick back a small bit. But those 2 misses, I'd say they were around when we were still hanging on by 2 or 3, 4 points, whatever it was. There were 2 after each other. I thought then, if we're going to be lumping high ball in, we might as well have Shannon in a lot sooner, whether he was as then he said the half forward line or full forward line didn't matter. If you want to be lumping high ball from our own 20 metre line, which we were 25 yards out, we're not playing it through any lines now. We weren't able to, I'd say, at that late stage. Have Shannon in under him, have Duggan under him, and Shane O'Donnell is decent enough. One thing I noticed in the second half about Shane O'Donnell, after all the brilliant work he had done, he did win a couple of balls, and there was at least 4 Limerick lads around him, and as Danny and Sean said as well, no Clare bent to be seen. So, but Limerick knew what they had to do, because the other Clare forwards hadn't been threatening enough. Really wasn't threatening enough. Even Peter, who worked like a savage, wasn't threatening to score, and neither was David Fitzgerald. So Limerick said, sure, all we do is surround O'Donnell. He set up most of the scores in the first half, and they did that. And even as good as O'Donnell is, he's not going to beat 3 or 4, and he nearly did a few times. So look at goals like that. If you're going to concede 3 goals in 15 minutes in a game, late in a game, you're going to probably lose it. Now, as the nature of the goals were, they were all preventable. I mean, if you have someone marking the normal way, Higgerty, the same as any game, only a middling cornerback, he wasn't at least going to get a free shot. And instead he was there all his own, one of the best forwards in the whole country. So the nature of those goals, I think, sucked the life out of us, sucked the life out of the crowd. And I mean, let's face it, if you give those chances to a fairly goodish team, they may or may not punish you and beat you. Limerick are a top team, huge team, and they are a great team, whether we like it or not. If you give them that kind of a break, what does they will give a sucker an even break? So I look at the goals are the story of the game, really. I think the way we give them away, and it's as simple as that. Whether they can fix that for Cork and make sure that kind of thing doesn't happen, that's the test over management and coaching, as well as the players themselves.
And Danny, do you think, as Patty even said, mentioned the coach and the management, do you think maybe they took their eye off the ball maybe with that time gone, and they started maybe looking ahead to Páirc Uí Chaoimh next Sunday and decided that, God, we need to get minutes into some of those leagues? Do you think maybe that was a point, or is
I absolutely do. I think that was the whole reason behind bringing on Tony Kelly, was to get game time into him. Whereas I think it had the opposite effect. Limerick knew, Tony Kelly is Clare's match winner for the last 10 years now. He's one of our greatest ever hurlers. Limerick was set up. They knew Tony Kelly is coming. This is it. We have to lift it now, and whether we like it or not, they are a superb team. They're as good as anything we've ever seen. They're up there with the great Kilkenny team. They are a superb outfit. Physically, at the peak of their, they're at the peak of their physical fitness now. And they were ready for that. And it seemed to galvanise them and lift them more so than us. And I know we can. I actually thought Colm Lyons had quite a good game on Sunday. I thought he gave us a good lot of our frees now were, okay, you can say there were fouls, but you'd see a lot of them let go as well. And like the square balls, as Cusick said on Sunday night, he said they watched the second one 10 times before they could decide that yes, Gillane was in the square. Well, the referee doesn't, or the umpires don't. I don't think we can blame the referee for the square ball call either. It should be the umpires if we're blaming anyone. They're standing right there. And the first goal, Gillane was in the square. But how many goals are scored every Sunday with full forwards' heels inside in the square? He was in the square, but he wasn't
blatantly
inside on the line. Do you know what I mean? He was barely over the line. So and in fairness to Brian Lohan and the Clare management, they're not making an issue of the square balls because I think they know there were soft goals conceded, irrelevant to where they were standing. And as Pat said there, and rightly so, it was the nature of the goals. And, we can't be coughing up goals like that. No team can cough up goals like that and hope to win.
Yeah, and Jenny, looking at the subs that Limerick brought in, they lost Mike Casey after 10 minutes and the next thing they're able to bring on the defender of the class of Sean Finn, who's only coming back from a serious injury as well. And no, it took Finn a while to get into the game, but I think in the last 20 minutes he really showed his class.
He did, and he's again, as you said, superb player. All the Limerick substitutions on Sunday seemed to work for him. It was one of those days. Everything clicked. Your man came in wing forward. Boylan English made a huge difference when he came in. These fellas, every one of them made a difference to the player to the game. Unfortunately, our subs didn't have the same effect. Tony, while he got on a bit of ball and scored it, he's visibly, you can see he's not the Tony that we know. He's not buzzing around the place. I don't think Shane Meehan offered anything when he came on here. I don't think there was a game for him, and it was no place. Mark Rogers was doing fine. I don't think we improved anything in that move. And Dan Shanahan moved just baffled me 2 minutes ago. They might as well not put him on at all, expecting him to go in and catch the one ball that was going to be hit in him and get a goal. I think it's very unfair on him. I think Pat said it there, some of our players on their league performances, David Fitz for me last Sunday was probably the worst game he's played in the Clare jersey, even though he got 2 points. I thought he contributed absolutely nothing, and I thought, looking at Limerick, Kyle Hayes was actually there for the taking last Sunday. He was unsure of himself. He wasn't getting involved in anything. And we never once ran at him. He didn't take him on. We didn't contest the ball in the air with him. I'd say 3 or 4 of our puckouts he went up on his own platform. You have to question, where was David Fitz with them balls? Why wasn't he inside under him with him? And I know I'm not singling out David Fitz, but he had such a good league. It was awful disappointing to see the performance on Sunday. Likewise with Dermot Ryan, he had such a good league. Like, he was probably one of our players of the league. He never got forward once last Sunday. And maybe we're not giving enough credit to Limerick. They had their homework done and they had these fellas nailed down. Do you know what I mean? But we can't be worried about them. We're worried about ourselves, and just our performances from some of them weren't good enough. Like as we also said there, David Reedy, the 2 chances after half time, fine. But the goal in the first half, he's 1-on-1 with a goalie. He's 10 yards out and hits it straight at him. And Inter-County Huller has to score that goal. Just has to score it.
And Sean, Denny's right. Look, when it boils down to Limerick took their chances and Clare didn't.
Yeah. The reality of it is we weren't clinical enough up front. Okay. McCarthy took the ball away really well now. But Shane O'Donnell, he left it in the play team now. In fairness, I just thought
McCarthy played okay though, Sean.
Oh, he did. I didn't think he actually should have been taken off either. You know, I think he was one man. He was hurling the top of his game, and he was capable of getting a score if he got a chance. But we've got to be ruthless up front. When you get a chance, as we say about David Reedy, you just have to put that away. And Shane O'Donnell is the great creator of those scores, but he's not really the finisher as such. You know, you can't win a ball, win your own ball, have to go through three defenders and put it away as well. But in fairness, the pass he gave to,
brilliant.
It was unbelievable. I mean, like
The speed of thought, even.
yeah, absolutely. He just has ulterior vision. You know, he picks up. He sees players that I often wonder how he catches them at all. But you know, I suppose the end of the day, I said earlier, the midfield play. Around midfield, Limerick closed up shop for the last 10 or 15 minutes, and they pulled all their big players into it to make sure no puck out was won by Shane O'Donnell, by any Clare player really, and with the result that we were struggling then to get forward to get any type of a score.
And Pat, you know, the key to all this Limerick defence, and man, I don't think he has ever really got the credit he deserves, is the Limerick centre-back and captain, Declan Hennon. I thought even last year when Limerick was struggling in the championship in 2023, he was by far and away their best player until he got injured. Again last Sunday, you know, he's so accustomed to that role, and he's giving the ball off to the runner all the time. And of course, obviously, to pass it, you have to have willing runners, and Nash and English had that, and Lynch had that in abundance. But he really is key to all that.
Yeah, the one thing we're watching Hannon is he's the most unflustered player playing hurling at the moment. He's not always dominating games, but nevertheless, when push comes to shove, he'll nearly always come up with a couple of balls, you know, taken maybe from the full back or the corner back, take a look, and he'll either give the short pass to someone running to open everything up, or he sees a lovely 30-40 yard pass inside, or maybe throw one over himself. I do like watching him, even though he's a Limerick man, but I mean, you know, as hurling lads, you have to admire good players wherever they're from, and I just love watching Hannon. I said, unruffled and calm and assured, big physical unit as well, but that's not his main asset, you know. But I suppose they often refer to him as the quarterback who just has to stand back and take a quick look and see what's happening all around him, and he has that type of vision and that type of play. So despite, you know, he's moving on, he's a fair bit of mileage on the clock now. It's the first time we saw him in Cork was a 2013 semi-final, he stalled the freeze against us. That's a fair while, and he was around for a year or two before that as well, I'd say. An awful lot done, but so what do you do? You know, Mark Rogers, I thought, was having had a good first half, in fairness to him, and he threw over the two in the second half.
2
and
points,
I thought it was a mistake taking him off. He wasn't maybe he dominant himself. He wasn't threat. The one that he was Quaid saved the shot in the first half.
Yeah, good
I
save.
don't know, was there another yard or two that Mark could have gone with that one? I'm not sure. Just to get eyeball him, you know.
The posse came in quick enough. And
They did. You see, this is all the ifs and buts. And I mean, it's very easy to talk. We are look at as if we were all able to score 3 goals in a Munster Championship game. I mean, it is easy chat, but look, we're only going through it and trying to explain what happened and trying to analyse what happened, I suppose. Couple of other things I thought. Again, Barry Nash for Limerick is something that he brings to them as well. You know, he seems to be able to play his game no matter what's happening. However it is, they can get him into the game, and later on, he was involved as well. Finn, as you said, the same thing. The only thing I'll say about it is the 9-point lead was false in the sense that Limerick should have been closer to us by half time or maybe level, going by the shots they missed. So really, I suppose in the overall game and the shots they got to take but didn't score, were we as far ahead of them in general play? And I don't think we were, even though we're playing out of our skins and our backs. The tackling was unbelievable and we were excellent. But Limerick could have been within a point or two of us at half time. And if they were, then you were talking about an even second half and they pull away anyway. So, or maybe pull away. So the 9 points was a bit false. But I tell you, to concede the last 3 goals and 6 points in no time was a shock and worry.
Yeah, and I suppose Denny, that's the end of it. 3-6 to 2 points, I think, was the score for the rest of it. And we're looking ahead now to Páirc Uí Chaoimh on Sunday, and it's a big battle for Clare. And look at, obviously, it's probably the best time to have the match, that you don't have time to dwell too long on last week, and you have to just focus on getting the performance on Sunday.
Yeah, it's probably a massive game now, and You know, if Waterford beating Cork, it doesn't help it either. Cork are in the same position as ourselves now, coming in off a defeat. The knives are out if you know, in Cork, the knives are out big time for that bunch of players. You know, they're looking at it as another failure. So we've seen some of the past players coming out saying it's not good enough. So if there's going to be a response, unfortunately for us, that response is going to come tomorrow. And, you know, for ourselves, I think there's worrying reports that Conor Cleary is in a boot and might have a broken bone in his foot. And I don't know, I've said it before, and I've said it on our show before, that have we found a replacement for him? No, I don't believe we have. So we could be heading into a Munster Championship and do or die without a recognised full-back, and trying someone again in a Munster Championship. It's not the ideal scenario. Does he stick with Ever? Probably has to at this stage. But he needs to steady down. He needs to work more on his puck-outs. He needs to get more accurate at his puck-outs. And I believe we need to put somebody else with Peter Duggan to win them puck-outs. You know, we can't depend on one man to be our go-to man for the whole game. It's not possible. No matter how good he is or how much he tries, it's not possible to win every ball pucked out.
Sean,
So,
Sean, looking at to follow on Denny's point. Sorry, Denny.
Yeah.
Look, follow on Denny's point there, right? He's 100% right. Obviously, you can't make wholesale changes because they got so much right for 60 minutes. You know what I mean? And you know, there isn't. It's just about tweaking things, maybe a small bit, but we have to win. We cannot concede puck-outs like we're conceding and just having the possession coming back, ball just coming straight back down and top you. And also, Cleary, we saw what happened when Cleary's loss was gone last year. You know, we didn't feel the void really. You know, through no fault of who went in there, you just came up against top class forwards. We could be very much back in the same scenario again.
Yeah, but I kind of tend to look at the positives in the sense that, you know, Cork are in the same position as we are. We were in the same position this time last year against Tip. You know, we got badly caught. You know, goals cost us that day as well. But we recovered greatly from it, and I just feel that every one of that Clare team are hurting tonight and hurting since Sunday evening, and no doubt, you know, that there'll be a response. I think myself there will be a big response from Clare, and if we can get you know, please God, you know, Conor Cleary will be okay, and that they'll have the full back line. They would have learned from the fact that Hegarty sneaked in around that, you know, 21 yards line uncontested, and surely to God, you know, we will have that thing. Those mistakes will be addressed, and everyone will be responsible for a man for Sunday. But that was the big thing, is to win at midfield and win our own puck out. If, you know, Jenny is right, Peter was, you know, very much a lone servant in terms of ball winning on Sunday. But we'll have to get, you know, Brian Fitz, like, he'll have to have a super game on Sunday. But he has it in him, like, that, with no doubt about it. I mean, his performances in the league were unbelievable. But I think there'll be a huge response, I think, from the whole Clare team. Because if there isn't, we'll be in trouble.
Yeah. Look, speaking of heading on to midfield, and I suppose, you know, Cork, they became a crop for blowing Walsh Park, and I suppose that ambush was perfectly set up, you know, and in fairness to Fitz in the boys, they carried it out, the letter of the law. But we're coming up again a midfielder Sunday in Darragh Fitzgibbon. He's probably the most complete, maybe, midfielder in the game, and can take on 4 or 5 points at any stage, and can run through the middle.
He's an awfully mobile one. Now, I just think that, actually we didn't mention it. I thought the last of and we'll finish up with the last game and talk about Cork immediately, but I thought Darragh Lohan was a huge loss. I think he was mixing up midfield very well. We don't know who was dominating nothing. Lohan was getting tackles in, he was horsing around the place, and he was also linking up play, he was picking up ball and giving it to lads. I thought he was a huge loss, especially in that last quarter. And it maybe you know, he's a really common player and a good midfielder. He's not probably going to be fit so tomorrow, so I was half wondering with Sean Rinn. I thought he showed something in the league. Now, it's easy talking about the league, but you need a mobile, fast guy but full of energy for Fitzgibbon. I mean, Malone, I think, is beginning to slow slightly, right? A brilliant warrior, and you'd have him on any day. But I think he probably isn't going to be covering as much ground as he was. So you'll have to have someone that can run and do the Ryan Taylor role.
Another man
that has the chance.
He hasn't been replaced. Ryan Taylor hadn't been
No,
replaced.
because there's talks about David Fitz midfield, and I don't know if David Fitz would be working midfield at all, considering he wasn't able to work enough the last day wing forward, which is that bit easier. Fitz and Malone together, I don't know if that would be a great combination. Maybe young Rain. I wonder would Paddy Donlan have any half an outside shot, because I think he'd have the energy and the drive. Maybe not the experience, or maybe he hasn't been seen to be going enough in training. But they'll have to try something. But I'd say the most they'll see is 1 or 2 changes. If Cleary's out, it's forced, and obviously Darragh Lohan is forced. I don't see many more changes than those replaced. Conor Lean, maybe Cian Galvin might, but they're not big field options.
Ian Galvin is an option maybe to bring out someone.
Ian Galvin, I think Ian Galvin should maybe look in the last day too. But then again, we're saying there was too many changes made, so it's hard to balance it out. Look, I suppose we need a partner for midfield. It looks like now for Malone. So is it Lean? Is it going to be Fitzgerald going back there, or could somebody sprung that we don't expect? But it's an issue to be dealt with. But look, Cork have just as many issues as we have to deal with. That's one thing for sure. The other thing I remember as well is last weekend, I think Sean O'Donoghue totally tied up a great forward, or very good forward like Hutchinson. So that's going to be, like him in there, he's going to make it hard for whoever calling forwards on that side as well. So you have to be ready for that as well. So look, it's fascinating what's going to go on tomorrow. But I still think we're capable. The one good thing I think about playing Cork Equivy is this: the crowd could get on Cork's back if we put pressure on them. Whereas if the game is in Ennis, our crowd could get uneasy. So I think we'd love to be playing it away, which might seem strange.
Danny, in fairness to Waterford last Sunday, it was some win, and they were perfectly primed, and maybe we shouldn't have been reading too much into the league where they're only half a team out most days. They had most of their players back. They have a couple of more players to come back from injury. But at the end of the day, they should have beaten Cork by more than the 3 points, and maybe it was the fact trying to just get over the line and win a championship game was maybe what was coming back to haunt them there towards the end. But look, they got the job done. Looking at the Clare team to play Cork next tomorrow, do you see many changes, if any, apart from the 2 enforced changes, Denny?
No, I don't think so. I think that, Brian, over the last 5-6 years, has been slow to make wholesale changes. I actually don't think that we need to make wholesale changes. It's just to get the balance right now, and who goes in midfield. Malone is going to be there, so who goes in with him? And who goes in full back if we have to. It's a huge call, and it's one that we kind of have to get right. Cork, below Cork, to me, they're in the market at the inter-county scene. I just love going down playing them and, shove that arrogance back at them. And I think if we go out with the right attitude, we've shown over the last couple of years against Cork, when we have no regard for the past, the history of Cork and things, we've no regard for it, and we're a better team than them at the moment. So if Brian can, get that attitude back into him in the week, which is the big one, I think if we can get our confidence back and really take the game to Cork. Like I said going in last week against Waterford, I couldn't know how Cork was such overwhelming favourites. They had 3 forwards in Conor Lohan, Seamus Harnedy and Patrick Horgan, over 35 years of age. Now, all of them have failed at different times over the last couple of years. Patrick Horgan, not doubting, I'm not saying he's a fantastic Cork servant, but he's in the latter stages of his career. And I thought last Sunday was set up for Waterford. They were there for 6 weeks to get ready for it. Nothing about them, and all year they've been saying judges on the 21st of April. That was their focus since early in the year. They played all them league games with half a team, and I suppose we didn't listen to them, but they showed they had 80%, 85% maybe of their players back last week, and they were ready for Cork. But as you said, they should have won it by 10, 12 points. There's no doubt about that. But it showed there's cracks in that Cork team. They don't like being ran at. But have we got the players now to exploit it? Have we got a Jamie Barron that's going to cut through the middle at pace like they had? Yeah, and that's what we need. We need that. We need to go down now, and we need to bring the game to them. But we can't wait for it to happen. We need the same attitude as the first 20 minutes that Sunday, tear into everything, and be tight at the back.
And keep it going as well.
Yeah, keep it going. And I'm not questioning. There is no doubt about Clare's fitness. Clare won't be hit as hard tomorrow as they were last Sunday. Cork are not as physical. They're not as big. Like some of the tussles, some of the body checks. Carl Malone and Will O'Donoghue met twice in the middle of the field, right in front of me now. Mother of God, it's like two mountains colliding. They're massive men, but Cork don't have that physicality that Limerick brought it. So we probably be going to the last 15 minutes a bit fresher, than we did last Sunday, and hopefully, if we can get on top this time, we don't concede soft goals. I think we're more than capable. I think Clare are a better team than Cork. I honestly do now, and I'm just hoping that Pat Ryan doesn't make wholesale changes, as in get rid of Lohan, get rid of Harnedy, get rid of... I just hope he doesn't. I'd like to see them starting on Sunday now.
But Sean, looking at Pat Horgan, right, and then he said, Pat Horgan, I'd say of all the scores he's got in his championship action, I'd say half of it has been against Clare. He seems to love
playing against Clare.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, there's no denying what Pat Horgan has done for Cork. But Danny is right. He's probably shoving towards the headland. Everyone come to that stage in their career, and he's been a massive servant. But you see, if Cork make changes, he's probably one of the men to not start. But the reality of it is, his free taking alone is impeccable and has been over years and years and years. But going back to the Clare thing, I think if we go down on Sunday and dictate the game, get on top, put scores on the board and build on that, then that's what we have to do, and attack Cork from the start. Because I just think there's a weakness in that Cork team. There's just, as Dennis rightly points out, there's a kind of a lack of a physical presence, right through the middle. Don Lowe mentioned that maybe he was there to rise up the rebels next Sunday, but
hopefully he'll have rose up more than the rebels.
Absolutely, yeah. But the spine of that team has been a problem for Kieran Joyce. Everyone thought he was going to do the job, but there's something lacking on that Cork team. And Clare, as Danny says, has had the upper hand on that particular Cork team for the last 2 or 3 years, and we have won all the tight matches. So I wouldn't be fearful of Cork on Sunday. I think if we get set up right at the back, get the men on the best forwards would suit. The important thing is to pick players to suit the occasion and who you're actually picking up. But Cork definitely are if Cork are allowed hurl, they'll dictate and they'll bang up 8 or 10 points in maybe 5 minutes. But we can't allow them to do that. We'll take the initiative from the start, get into the game, and then, if everyone is up to scratch then, and irrespective of... I would actually think that Tony Kelly might start on Sunday. And I think it could be a day for Tony Kelly, because he's hungry for hurling now, and he'd love to be out there, and he'll play well against Cork, because Cork generally they let you hurl, and that's been traditionally the way. And I could see Tony Kelly having a huge game on Sunday.
I suppose, Pat, is it's not the end of the world again if things don't go right, but you're really cutting it very, 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 very fine. So you want to be getting something out of the game tomorrow. Again, to John's point, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in, especially with Lohan. If Darrell Lohan isn't going to be in the middle of the field, that he could come in. Pat, we have to take this challenge to Cork, but Clare more than capable of getting a result tomorrow.
Yes, 100%. The only thing I'd say is, I'm sure everybody will agree, that if you're going to be seen as All-Ireland contenders, and we all hope Clare are All-Ireland contenders realistically, regardless of last Sunday, and I mean, as I said, we were certainly All-Ireland contenders after 3/4 of the game. You'd say we were nearly favourites for it. Things went wrong then, but if we are All-Ireland contenders at all, we should be beating this Cork team in Páirc Uí Chaoimh tomorrow, or wherever it is on, wherever it should be on. Because they're not, as we all agree, great. No, they can be. If they're late, they can be great. But if we bring the same intensity and kamikaze tackling and bodies on the line like we did against Limerick for the last 3 or 4 years against Limerick in Championship, Cork wouldn't live with that, I don't think, because they haven't got the men to do it. But they have runners and they have pace and they love the short game and they love the crowd getting behind them and sort of throwing over, running through you for goals. Well, that bit easy to run through our middle sometimes still. And even though I thought John Collins was outstanding the last day for 3/4 of the game, again, what a stalwart he's been since he moved back there. With the possibility and maybe a probability of Cleary under pressure or not being there, it's something you'll be a little bit concerned about. And, it's easy to, Limerick fouled us the last day, even the first half. Whenever we slightly threatened the sniff of anything wrong, they give away the old foul. And I know you say you can't be fouling too often, giving away cheap fouls, but if a Cork man is running through the middle, he's hitting 30 yards out, someone needs to take a yellow for the team and take him down. Prevent the goal. They'll tap it over the bar. Because if you concede goals by people running through you, all the good work you do at the other end of the field then is for naught. If you concede those goals. So I would love to see, I'd agree with Sean, I think maybe if Kelly has an extra week. Now, if he was close enough to being right last Sunday without being perfect, an extra 7 days is a lot. He could be developing more train, twisting and turning and bouncing off his feet again. I think if you had Kelly and Shanahan added to that forward line, you've a totally different forward line than played the last day. I think David Reilly will be very disappointed in himself. David Fitz obviously will be playing. I don't know if Shane Meehan brought anything to the game the Leicester. So I'd be looking to the likes of maybe more time for Shanahan, hopefully a game for Kelly, back towards his best, but to just bring a right ruthless, nasty, in-your-face attitude to Cork, and you could win this game again. I'd say the players themselves, I think Sean correctly said as well, I think they will want to say, we want to make up for what happened last Sunday in our own patch. It wasn't good enough what happened near the end of it. Surely the absolute hurt of that will drive him on, and I think it will.
Denny, do you concur with that Clare are more than good enough to get the result tomorrow?
Well, absolutely. I think we have had the upper hand in Cork for a few years now. And what we don't want, as Pat said there, is to give them 5 or 6 points in a couple of minutes spell. But we haven't done that now for a few years. We have been physical on them. We've been man to man with them, and we have the pace, and this team has the pace to stick with the Cork, the so-called pacey Cork forwards. Rory Hayes, the likes of this guy, Adam Hogan, they're as pacey as anything that's in the game. So I would be very hopeful that we can turn things around. As Pat said, a couple of small changes. It would be great to see Tony Kelly starting. It would be great. I believe it would be great to see Aaron Shanahan starting, because I thought I was really impressed with his physique. I think he looks way fitter than he has done for a long time. He came on the league final with 10 minutes ago and he made 2 or 3 runs. Looked to be a bit of pace about him, and there's no doubt in his ability in the air, and that's what we need, I think. Maybe if it's a case of put David Fitz in centre forward, yeah. but Shanahan and Peter Duggan on the 2 wings, you know what I mean, and have David Fitz running off him, because the big and honest, he's probably not the greatest of our players in the air, but rightly he'd probably start again. So get him on the ball, and when he's running at the defence, he's practically unstoppable. He's so big and he is fast. So if we got guys winning the ball and popping it off to him, and he's running off their shoulders, he could work to our advantage.
Yeah, hopefully so. Look at everyone hoping for a clear win. Sean, we turn to the other game in the Munster Championship tomorrow, and Tipperary are into the fray, and with everything that went on all week and talking about the matches last weekend, there hasn't been a word about Tipperary. And, again, they'll be trying to bounce back from a very poor league semi-final against Clare. But the one thing you've got to be guaranteed with Cahill is that they're going to be buzzing for road tomorrow, taking on Limerick.
Yeah, not a word from Tipperary camp at the moment. But the reality of it is, Tip will be ready for this game on Sunday, I think, because they hurt very badly in the league semi-final. So I think there'll be a response. A bit like Clare, there'll be a huge response. And that day, if you can recall, their free takers just didn't perform. They're probably 2 of the best free takers in the country, in O'Connor and Ford, and they just didn't click. But if they get the chances from frees, they will do that on the big day because they are big time players. Just that things didn't go for them the last day, but I still think that'll be a massive game now between Tip and Limerick. I
and
think
it was a
it'll be
classic.
huge game.
It was a classic game in Thurles last year.
Absolutely.
26 points each. So
yeah, that's right.
you'll be looking forward to much more of the same. Well, hopefully they've been them up where Limerick have recovered from last week.
Yeah. I think I'd love to be at that game, but obviously we can't be. But I think it will be a huge game, and it will be really backs to the wall for Tip, because they'll be the Tip public aren't happy, and haven't been happy for the last couple of years. So they will look for a huge performance on Sunday, and I'm expecting that there'll be nothing in it.
Pat, the time is coming, catching up. What's your thoughts on Tip and Limerick?
Well, obviously, Tip going to your first Munster Championship game, no matter what way the league goes, good, bad, and different, and they have a newish manager, and they have a team that's tradition. They're going to be absolutely hopping off the ground and tearing into it the first quarter of an hour, and as you would expect, and they'll throw everything at Limerick. There's one thing I would say is that in normal circumstances, you say Limerick will swash them by after a while and just take over gradually with the physicality and all that. And maybe some of Tip's players simply aren't good enough. They haven't proved themselves good enough these last. The lads who won 20s and that a few years ago haven't really come on that awful amount. So that's the only thing is that say Limerick could be feeling the pinch after last weekend. They had to work. They had to really, really struggle to get on top of us eventually. I know the soft goals brought them into it. But, they had knocked a bit out of them now. Tip are fresh. They had the fairly extended league. Okay, Limerick had their trip to Portugal. Everyone says now that was the wisest thing ever. And I saw some clowns on the internet saying Clare were fooling around in that league and trying to win it instead of, other teams going off to the sun. That's cardiology. If we ignore the league and we had a bad championship, everyone say, why didn't we go bald-headed for the league and build up, play Kilkenny and have a tough game? So, you can't please everybody. I think Limerick, probably now that they're getting that little bit more mileage than the legs, mightn't find it as easy to recover, but I still think they'll have enough for Tip, no question.
Denny, do you give that a full house and give Limerick the nod over Tipperary?
I do. Indeed, I don't think Tip are anything like the team they were. Okay, they have some good players. Jake Morris is a good player. They don't have a recognised fullback, centre-back at the moment. They don't know whether they're running Maher inside or outside. They don't, the league semi-final, they had no settled team. Every other team has their team settled at this stage. They were still experimenting with fellas in different positions, and I know the free tackles missed a lot the last day, and Jason Ford and O'Connor are better, but I don't think from general play that they're as good as the Tip players that were there 5-6 years ago. Yes, they will be facing, yes, they will be hopping on, and rightly so, and having a go at them, but I still think I don't see Limerick conceding anything like 26 points at home, and I don't see them losing at home, so I'd have to concur with the lads and go for a full house with Limerick.
Lads, before we leave the championship, and obviously the Leinster Championship started off last weekend, and Kilkenny had their facile victory over Antrim, and it beggars belief at why something is going to have to be done about the championship in the province for some of those teams. And in fairness, Carlow put up a battle against Galway, and Wexford and Dublin in the only competitive game last weekend was a draw. This weekend though, there's a bit of a change of Galway, Kilkenny coming to Salthill, and that will probably tell both teams an awful lot more about themselves, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's an intriguing contest, especially above in Salthill. Kilkenny, they'll always want to win a game. There's no doubt about that. But Galway, if they're ever going to make a stamp or put their stamp on a championship, on a Leinster Championship, they'll have to start on Sunday. Playing at home, they have flattered to deceive, but I think it's a huge game actually for Galway, a huge game, especially with home. But I wouldn't rule out a Galway win.
And I suppose, Pat, looking at Galway, and as Denny says about Tipperary, don't know their team. I don't know, do Galway know? Maybe Henry knows his team and hasn't been playing it, but he's been doing a lot of swapping of lads here and there as well, trying to find his best 15.
Yeah, Galway haven't really added any really top player to the team in the last 3 or 4 years, or even the last 2 years. I can't think of any new lad that has really taking the bull by the horns.
And they have gone back for
Big time.
Johnny Glynn now.
Johnny Glynn, that could be, now it depends on how fit he is and everything else.
Will he appear tomorrow though?
He's a fair operator, like, in fairness. It was a huge loss to him in the years he was missing.
Yeah.
But I still think at home in Salthill, Kilkenny, we know exactly what Kilkenny bring to the table now. We probably know the team that put over as well, close enough. We know they die with their boots on always. We know how dangerous they are in terms of getting goals and they need them, that kind of thing. So if Galway are any bit slack at all, Kilkenny will beat them at home. However, I still think that, Galway at home, they need to get a good win against the top team like Kilkenny and prepared again for probably the repeat in the league final. So I think we're better off beat them and try and beat them the next day rather than losing now. If Galway lose, they'll have criticism of in their own fans' backyard talk as well. So I think they might justify. I mean, Conor Whelan is going to be there, and I suppose one of the players now, I think, for instance, that was coming, we thought was going to be a superstar, maybe Evan Nyland, but in general play he's bringing very little to the table. Brilliant free taker, for instance. So that'd be one player you talk about. Loftus, the likes of Loftus and Concannon and those, I don't think they've really developed into the players we thought they'd be either. So it might be a struggle, but I still just think Galway might just do enough at home to win.
Denny, Galway, they're notoriously hard to beat in Salthill, and I think this is a more important game for Galway tomorrow than Kilkenny. Denny, do you concur with that?
It probably is, but it's just, I feel, he's gone a few years now. I don't think they have replaced Joe Kelling. Probably impossible to replace Joe Kelling, but I don't think, I think Sean said it there, they have no marquee players. They're flatter. Some days they're brilliant. There's not, but if anybody is to go to Salthill, maybe in lower their flag, it could be Kilkenny. I have a sneaky feeling Kilkenny could take this one.
And I suppose, Sean, maybe finally before we close up, Kilkenny will probably want to put down a marker tomorrow, and Galway really are their main threat to success in Leinster. They'll be trying to put maybe more question marks into their mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and no doubt Kilkenny have bigger fish to fry down the road. They won't fear anyone. Kilkenny never do, and they have been badly beaten in the 2 All-Ireland finals, and I think they're hoping and to get back into that zone, into an All-Ireland semi-final, and if they do that, and they'll know that they're capable of beating Limerick, beat them well, and they won't fear Limerick or fear anyone. In fact, Kilkenny don't do that, but the Kilkenny supporters are hurting too, from those All-Ireland final defeats, and they will be very anxious to get to atone for them and get back into that realm of at least a semi-final.
Finally, before we finish the programme, Sean, we forget about the hurling for a second, and we look forward to the game tomorrow. Great news breaking during the week. Munster football final in Cusack Park.
Yeah,
that's another occasion to savour.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and sure. Listen, it is brilliant to have it on home territory, and it will give Clare a huge boost to be going into contest in Limerick or to take it on Kerry. Now they'll obviously be up against it because Kerry, even though they struggled against Cork last Sunday. Or that's the reality of it, or last Saturday. Kerry haven't really moved on a lot. They haven't got, they're still dependent on those couple of great forwards that we have, I don't know, they're lacking something. They're lacking a cutting edge.
They're not the same Kerry team.
No, they're not the traditional Kerry team, going back 7 or 8 or 10 years ago. But Clare have a young outfit, and they're very impressive against Waterford. But put great scores on the board. Took a huge. I mean, what they scored was at
220.
220. I mean, when has the Clare football team scored 220 before? In all fairness, now. But reality of it is, they have. They did very well in the league, and now they won't fear Kerry going into Cusack Park. They'd love to take him on and give a right cut at it.
It is a location to save our pet and have a cut at it and see what happens.
It's brilliant to get the home draw. I mean, if you're hoping that there'll be a savage crowd there of Clare followers, and I really would think this time as well, even though Clare are missing so many top players from the recent years, I think Mac Fitzgerald has done a fantastic job with it. There's no question about that at all. I think the young players are hungry, for road, and there's a fair bit of ability there, and I think they will give Kelly a rattle. But it's great to have it at home anyway, and I hope a crowd will go in there and that we'll get a real match. If you get a real match, you take a defeat, but one of those few aerial games where Kerry pull away by 15 points is no good to us, and I don't think that will happen. One other thing I want to mention, proper order during the week, the Ronan Keane's red card was rescinded from the 120 game. Very happy up our way anyway, but I think in general it was unjust red card.
Justice has been done, and look, we wish all those lads the best of luck. Danny, look, thanks for your time tonight. Pat, thanks for your time. Sean, thanks for your time. We look forward to the games with relish tomorrow, and everyone hitting for Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Also, Pat, Munster Camogie semi-final tomorrow. Clare again, Cork. Clare relegated from Division 1, up against it again.
I'd say that's an understatement, Leo. Up against it is probably a nice way of putting it. I'd be very fearful. Now, they surprised us in the last game against Cork that the margin wasn't massive at all. But this is Championship, and I know it's only Munster Championship only, which is a strange thing to say. But in Camogie, the Munster Championship isn't as big a thing as the All-Ireland, obviously, or near it. But it's a serious challenge with a team missing so many top players. So let's hope they really give a good count to themselves and get Clare fans, the early arrivals into a good mood for the senior Clare hurling game. And definitely that concludes our Sportsline show today here on Scariff Bay Community Radio on 88.3 FM and 92.7 FM in association with their credit union. As I said, thanks to Sean, Pat and to Denny. Thanks to Jim Collins in the control tower. He kept the show on the road here for us this evening or today. And thanks to you for listening. We hope you enjoy the programme, and we look forward to the weekend. And all that remains is for me, Doyle. Until we meet again, it's Bannock Day, August Lawn.